Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing really well, and thanks for taking the time to join us today for our kickoff presentation. Our team's called Luna Creative Studio, and we're going to be talking about a project that we're really excited about, which is developing a speakeasy lounge hidden behind an existing restaurant. So you will find out more about Luna and about the project, the scope, the stakeholders, everything as we move through the presentation. So for today's meeting agenda, we're going to hit key highlights for this project. So I'm gonna go briefly and run down what those are going to be today. We're gonna introduce the project team members and their roles, so everyone's aware of who's responsible for what, who to contact when they need something. We're going to talk about what is Luna Creative Studio, which we're really excited to share with you guys. The project description, what the project's about, the scope, everything that we're going to be covering for this project that falls within our scope, the stakeholder analysis, project deadlines and key milestones. I think that's one of the most important things that we all need to be aware of. That follows into the project timeline, so everyone's working cohesively, but at the same time know when to meet those hard deadlines. We have a risk management strategy, so we've pulled out just a couple of risks that could fall within the way, and we wanted to assess those and just think about that beforehand a little bit so that we could be prepared for that. And then we would end with communication strategies and questions from anyone that needs more information on any of the categories that we're going to be talking about. For the project team members and their roles, we have myself, Mehak, that's the project manager. We have Stephanie Niebler, that's our client. So she's a restaurant owner and she's owned this restaurant that we're going to be designing around for a long time now. It's actually a little cafe bistro. And then we have Ezra, which is the assistant project manager. She has an extensive knowledge of projects and goals and how to accomplish those projects while meeting stakeholder needs and meeting the project deadlines. We have Surya, who is our in-house purchasing agent. He has a general knowledge of the project, but he works with Luna. He's a great asset to the team and he will be learning more through as we go and talk about the project a little more. We have Skylar Jackson, that's the interior designer for the project. Skylar is a great hospitality designer and she's a freelance designer, so she's been working by herself for some time now, but she's worked at great firms before, so we're really excited to be working alongside her. We have Leigh Frankel, which is the branding and marketing manager. He has been a great asset to any project that he's been a part of. I have personally been able to see some of his work, so we're excited. We're really excited for that. We have Gregory Lamba, which is our general contractor for this project. We're hoping to work with him. And then we have Marie, which is our architect of record. And these are just a few of the stakeholders we wanted to list out. We have a couple of more you guys in the meeting, but we'll go through that as we continue along. About Luna. So what is Luna? Luna Creative Studio. So it's a company that works within the hospitality industry. They help restaurant owners bring their projects come to life, but they also help people just bring their ideas out there, which is great. Our focus groups are small scale projects from restaurants to bars to lounges. We work from start to finish to help a client meet their expectations and their goals. So we primarily work with interior designers, graphic designers, lighting designers to develop the design of the space. And we primarily work with, I would say, again, interior designers, but there are some projects that we also work with graphic designers and branding marketing teams who create a brand identity for the entire project and the space. We make sure that all the internal, external stakeholders are coordinated, which overall helps create a smooth journey for everyone to reach the end of a project. So for our project description, we have time. So we're opening a speakeasy in an existing restaurant. So this restaurant's owned by Stephanie, which is in Flatiron. She owns this little cafe bistro restaurant called Chanson, and she realized that she has a really good space, like a basement space underneath, that she's just been using for storage, but it's big enough that we could turn it into something more exciting. So throughout the day, it would just be Chanson, the restaurant, and a bakery. And at night, when the bakery closes, you have a secret doorway entrance into the speakeasy called Time, which specialty, like you see in a little mood board, is fun specialty cocktails and small plates. We also we're going to be developing a brand identity and marketing package for Time. So we're going to create its social media presence, its visual identity, and the space itself. So this is a very fun and exciting project for Team Luna. We're going to be working from scratch with a small team of designers, internal, external stakeholders. We're going to also have a lot of people that we're going to be purchasing stuff from. So everyone's going to be working cohesively and in coordination to reach the project goal. So for the project scope, the space is only designed for around, let's say, 18 to 20 people. We're working with a square footage of 1,200 square footage, so that doesn't include Chanson, the back of house. It just includes the public space for the speakeasy where everyone is welcome to come. We're going to be designing a brand identity and marketing package, knowing what Time stands for, knowing how they want to be this really niche specialty cocktail lounge, and we want to work with throughout the designing of the interior space. The interior space and the brand identity, Luna believes, really need to be in sync with one another so that everything represents the same aura, like I would say. The scope for the project is from start, so right when everyone got hired, consulted, to the end of which is this opening date for the restaurant. So we're projecting it to be around 8 to 9 months. We also want to create a website, an Instagram page, establish the visual identity we've been talking about. And the last thing that Luna needs to ensure is design documentation sets and permit sets, like a license. All the logistics have to also be met at the same time while having this fun experience, like I would say. Moving on to our stakeholder, we have listed out our internal and external stakeholders. So for the internal stakeholders, we obviously have our client, Stephanie, which is the owner of Chanson, who's going to be pouring all her lovely money into the speakeasy that we're going to be designing and building for her. The group of interior designers that we're going to be working with, so that falls back into the freelance designer we mentioned earlier, who has her little team to be working with. We have the graphic designer team, we have our lighting designers that work with the interior designer, our project management team, so that's myself, Ezra, and Surya, and then we have the branding and marketing team as well. Our external stakeholders that we're going to be in daily coordination with is going to be the architect, the general contractor, the audiovisual consultant, plumbing and mechanical consultant, and the purchasing agent. So the difference, since we have Surya as our in-house purchasing agent, we would also at times need a purchasing agent to help the general contractor buy all the architectural finishes. So let's say that falls into paint, tile, marble, anything that's adhered to the space, that's not movable. And then Surya in our team basically focuses on furniture, fixtures, lighting, purchasing. So he does stuff that's more you place within the space and that can be replaceable, versus the external purchasing agent is going to be working with the contractor just to source things for him. Key milestones. So we wanted to list out the key milestones within the project and what we have to be very mindful of. One is going to be securing funding. That's going to come from Stephanie. So we need to propose a great idea, a great concept, a great plan to her for her to believe in the idea and to want to spend that money for the project. We want to be appointing consultants and contractors. We have a general contractor on board, but we don't have the AV consultant, MEP. We don't have any of those. So we need to work in tangent with the GC, with the client, and with the design team to find the right people to work with for this project. We need to make sure the different design stages are complete, from conceptualization to schematics to really design development, and then moving into construction documentation and administration. We want to make sure the speakeasy has its business insurance, the license, the permits that we discussed earlier. From start to completion, construction needs to be taken care of. We need to make sure we have site visits, creating a website, setting up a business bank account, so really legitimizing the business and its identity. We have a project timeline chart. So this is going to be something that we as a team decided we're going to have an agile approach towards. We want to secure funding. We've given an approximate time of how much time should be spent on each sector, but knowing lead times and where we're in the world right now, that's something that's out of our control. And certain times we're going to try to keep a really good grasp of this timeline that we've created to have a final release opening date end of October. But I can say this to the whole team, that Stephanie is comfortable for that to be pushed out a month. So we're opening right around the holidays within November. But we really want to keep that leeway just for things that really might require that amount of time and extra attention. A little bit of a risk management plan. This doesn't target all of the risks that might come along the way, but it does we did want to mention talking about cost of overrun, damage to property, which has a medium probability of happening, but it will have a high impact, and that's what makes it a high priority. As a strategy towards this, we want to make sure the contractors are in coordination with the design team and are regularly talking to the purchasing agent that's also helping them source materials and giving them pricing and schedule, so that everyone knows we're working with the price range that we need to be working around. We have brand awareness, so probability is again high. That's why it's a high impact, high priority. We want to be able to use social media, branding, ads, every single platform that's available, and we have 1 million of them now, to create that awareness for us. And then at the end, we wanted to give a little shout out to market completion risk, which is also very important, but because we have, again, medium probability, but high impact, high priority. So implementing an effective pricing strategy to invest more. When we say R&D activities in this, we basically mean in the design development phases of this, so we can really hone down on the materials that we need. We know the selections that we like, the furniture pieces, so that we can have a game plan, like I would say, and make sure we can actually source those things. Because if we don't have that strong foundation from the beginning, it's going to create a lot of confusion and chaos throughout the project, which we want to eliminate as much as we can. The last thing we would like to talk about is the communication strategies as what Luna presents, and we want to use an approach to making sure the project works in tangent with everyone, with everything that's happening, and that also meets Stephanie's goals and requirements. Weekly reports and touch-base meetings are very important. Every week, the team needs to get on a weekly meeting. So everyone, even if it's a couple minutes or sometimes it runs an hour, everyone's on the same page and anyone's questions are answered faster. We want to do meeting minutes followed by every minute. So that's going to be taken by the project management team. So that'll be either Ezra or I that do the meeting minutes followed by that. So everyone has a written document as to what was discussed in the meeting and what moving forward are going to be the deliverables that we want to meet. We want updates on project milestones and key deadlines. So each different stakeholder is going to have its own key milestones that they need to like I would say check off. So they need to keep everyone